So the 12 foundations that we write about are these 12 principles that I have shared at the bottom. But now it's one thing to know about them, it's another thing to communicate and agree how you see the God factor and how you see the God factor playing an important role in your life. Where there are different belief systems, it is very important that you iron them, because inadvertently they become sources of conflict without you meaning to make them sources of conflict. It just pops up. The marriage covenant, an understanding of what marriage is, the marriage covenant is, which is a vow or a commitment to love and affection, to extraordinary care, to sexual exclusivity, and to permanence. The Bible says death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. So where there is no vows, where there is no vows, where there is no exchange of vows, most of the time there is no commitment to this. There's no commitment to love, to affection, to extraordinary care, even to sexual exclusivity, and to permanence of the marriage. So it is a potential source of conflict. Love, there's a big misunderstanding, and we were caught in that misunderstanding of what true love is. True love gives. True love expresses itself. We'd always sing this song that love is not love until you give it away. So your failure to express your love or your affection, it doesn't matter how much you love that mother, if you can't tell them, I love you, if you can't show your affection in one way or another in which they appreciate, then the marriage looks like there is no love and the other is frustrated and there is conflict. So selfishness wants to feel the other person's love, but not to give love packaged in a manner that is felt. So you have to get rid of the selfishness, understand what makes the other person feel loved, and just go out of your way, to focus 80-90% of your energy in that expression of your love. Acceptance, you find many couples have failure to accept their spouse, with their different strengths and their weaknesses. Strengths cause problems. You find some are competing between themselves, and weaknesses, one fails to accept them because of those specific weaknesses. And here is, when we talk about weaknesses, we're not talking about sin or disobedience to God, where you found somebody saying, oh, you must just accept that, I'm just immoral, I just love women. Or, well, that's not what we're talking about. Those are not the weaknesses we're talking about. So there's also potential conflict around friendship, which we've touched on and we'll touch on as we close. So lack of friendship, and friendship, by the way, is tested in long distance relationships. And so there needs to be extraordinary effort to keep the friendship, to keep the fire of friendship burning, over the long distances. And we thank God for technology these days. I don't know what we used to do then. But even then, marriage is for companionship. At the end of the day, friendship grows and must grow when you are together. Avoid situations where you are apart for extended periods of time, unless by agreement. And of course, if it's beyond your control, like now with this COVID-19. Communication, we've talked about that. Lack of communication, poor communication, ineffective communication. All those are causes of conflict. Trust. We talk about how trust is earned and how trust is not demanded, because we found a lot of misunderstanding there, where people will be literally almost fighting, hey, don't trust me, hey, don't trust me. You can't be hey somebody. You must earn the trust, And so that's a whole workshop in itself. But another foundation or another principle which it must be in place is transparency, especially over trigger issues. Trigger issues are those that trigger a lot of emotion, very sensitive issues, but we have found over the years that lack of trust and lack of transparency cause a lot of conflict. Another foundation is culture and tradition, roles, who does what. So in our book we talk about how it's important to agree on some of the negotiable roles and some of the non-negotiable roles of wives and husbands. With changing economic environments and setups and settings and cultural settings, it's okay, to negotiate around certain roles. But there are some non-negotiable roles for every husband, for every wife, which when violated causes conflict. Money matters also cause conflict. If there is no principle around how we handle money, we ought to remember that your money must lose its identity as soon as it hits your home. So it's not my money, his money, or your little money and my much money. It's our money. As soon as it hits our home, it's now our money. We sit down, we budget, we prioritize according to the principles that we sit and we agree on as a couple, where God is always number one, and we don't fail to tithe no matter what, and where you and I are next, and where our children are next, and where the other priorities you then agree. Your job, your extended relatives, extended family, and other societal demands. But you have to agree. As long as there is no agreement, money will always go in the direction of the urgent needs, and sometimes urgent needs are not necessarily important needs, and vice versa. So you need to agree what's urgent, what's important, and how you prioritize the use of your monies. So these are the potential, including the last one: sex, premarital sex, extramarital sex, lack of sex in marriage, and lack of sexual fulfillment in marriage. Those are huge issues in marriage. And like I said, they each need a whole seminar, 2-hour seminar or more for us to tackle. But a lack of understanding of those 12 foundations causes a lot of conflict. So now,